Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to all of you. Myself Kareena Sharma, and today I am going to take a very short session on a topic of science which is cell, the fundamental unit of life. Now the first question which comes to our mind is that what is the meaning of this term cell? Cell is basically a Latin word which means a small room. And by definition, cell is defined as the basic structural and functional unit of life. Now, the question is, why are we calling it as a structural unit of life? Because it provides structure to our body. And why are we calling it as a functional unit of life? Because all the important functions, all the various important functions of our body takes place at the cellular level. For example, cellular respiration is there, metabolism is there, all the important various functions of our body takes place at the cellular level. That is why we are calling it as a functional unit of life. Next, the cells are also known as the building blocks of our life, or we can say that cells are also known as building blocks of our body. As bricks are assembled to make a complete house, as bricks are assembled to make a complete building, in a similar manner, cells are assembled or cells are composed and they form a complete tissue or a particular organ of our body. If we come to the discovery of the cell, so the first name which comes to our mind is the Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke in 1665 discovered the cell. He observed thin slices of cork under the microscope, and what he saw small compartments which he named cell. The next name is Robert Brown. He in 1831 discovered the nucleus, which is an organelle in the cell, which we discuss later in the session. Now there are two types of organisms on the basis of number of cells, that how many cells are present in an organism. The organisms are categorized into two groups. First one are the unicellular organisms. As the name suggests, uni means one or single and cellular means cell. Those organisms which are made up of a single cell, only one cell. These organisms are known as unicellular organisms. As you can see here in the picture, amoeba is there, paramecium is there, and euglena is there. All these organisms are the unicellular single-celled organisms. Now the next is multicellular organisms. Multicellular, as the name suggests, many cells, the organisms which are made up of multiple cells, which are made up of many cells, which are composed of the collection of cells. And if these organisms are composed of collection of cells, so there is a division of labor. These cells perform functions in a coordinated manner, and each cell perform a specialized task, a specialized function. For example, here you can see in the diagram the red blood cells. These red blood cells, what they do, they carry oxygen in the form, or they carry oxygen in the blood, and they supply oxygen to different parts of our body. Similarly, the nerve cell neuron is there, it transmits a signal to our brain. So there are different types of cells, and all these cells perform different types of functions in our body. So the organisms which are made up of collection of cells, which are made up of multiple cells, and these cells functions in a coordinated manner. Each cells perform different tasks, specialized tasks. So these organisms are termed as multicellular organism. It can be plants, animals, or human beings as well. Now the next is shape and size of cells. There are different shapes and sizes of cells. The shape varies from oval shape, spherical shape, as you can see here that muscle cell is spindle shape, blood cells are oval shape. All these are different shaped cells, and their sizes vary from micro level to macro level. And some cells are also irregular shaped. For example, the nerve cell, here you can see the nerve cell neuron, it is an irregular shaped cell. Okay, now there are two types of cells, prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. Now what are prokaryotic cells? Prokaryon, the word pro means primitive or old, karyon means nucleus. So the cells which are having a old nucleus, which are having a primitive nucleus, are termed as the prokaryotic cells or prokaryotic organisms. The organisms which are having a prokaryotic cells are termed as prokaryotic organisms. And prokaryotic cell means a primitive cell, the cell having a primitive nucleus. Now, what is a primitive nucleus? Or in these kind of cell, true nucleus is absent. So what is a primitive nucleus? What is the definition of a true nucleus? What is the meaning of true nucleus? True nucleus is a nucleus which is bound by a well-defined nuclear membrane. Okay, so in these types of cell, prokaryotic cell, the nucleus is not bound by a very well-defined nuclear membrane. Therefore, the nuclear material, as you can see here, it is spread out. Okay, it is not bound by a well-defined nuclear membrane. And prokaryotes are generally or always unicellular organisms, for example, bacteria and blue-green algae. Now come to the next type of cell, that is eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cells are the cells in which true nucleus is present. True nucleus means the nucleus is bound by a very well-defined nuclear membrane. Okay, these types of cells are the advanced and they are the complete cells. Eukaryotes involve all the living organisms, both the unicellular organisms as well as the multicellular organisms, except bacteria and blue-green algae. Okay, so I hope you liked the video and I hope you liked my session. Thank you so much, everyone.